Yes, this is well. I was asked to participate in the series project, and at that time I was working in that image. This is well. This is here. There are two elements. This is the two arms together, just two together, like holding when you're holding something. It's that sense of holding or staying together, or like closing a sort of circle, because our arms are well, we are closing this. I think yeah, we are closing something. And for me, at that time, that idea of the arms is it's a subject I was working before. Worked that back and forward, and for that project, I had some sketches with the arms, and there's another element I find it very fascinating. It's a ball moss.
So what?
The ball moss. This is that kind of plant. When I moved to Austin, all the trees were full of ball moss.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and people told me, this is crap. This is something bad for trees that kills trees or whatever. But I found it fascinating. And because in Spain we have a similar plant, but it's an ornamental plant. It's bigger. It has some flowers, and people put that plants in the balconies. And it's like a bigger ball. And I thought, wow, this is very similar, and I found that is the same family of plant. So since I moved to Austin, I have many. Some of my work is has this plant. I incorporated this plant, this vegetal on my repertoire.
Okay.
Yes, I have. I like to have some elements and elements. It means animals, plants, and to create like a sort of story about that.
Wow.
Well, everybody says I'm a good storyteller. I like to tell stories. I like to tell stories. I like to hear stories, and I like how a story that point of is a story real or not. What we do when we explain a story, I think there's a part of reality, but there's a part of us, that story, and that point of telling stories is interesting to me. But at the same time, I don't like to explain the typical story of very specific, very clear. I like if you see a symbol or a drawing or something like that, I like to make you think. I like the observer to make things about it.
Mm-hmm.
I think artwork is finished in the sight of the people who's looking at. For example, there are some kind of artwork. They are beautiful, they're well done, but yes, it's well done. And what else? I like when I see something and I put questions and I am thinking about how he did that is the story beside the drawing.
Mm.
I like for me a good artwork is when there's something else. When I'm asking myself what's this, what that person was doing, and it's when I want to know something else, because I'm participating of the artwork work. Excuse me. Yes, this is a story. The story here I think it depends. Those last years there have been a lot of changes on my life, and sometimes I had to. Well, I moved to a country with a different language. The first year was very difficult for me to communicate. Right now, my English is more fluent, but when I just came here, it was a real handicap and frustrating. And sometimes those kind of drawings, it's a kind of express how I feel, things about myself, and that one is there is the feeling of collecting things. When you put your arms like this, you are carrying things with you. well, collecting and but there's an empty space. That means that you can put lots of things inside. And maybe to reinforce, I was thinking on that plan on the almost just to reinforce. This is yes, and for me that was the most challenging for me. The most interesting for me is to find a title for that.
And just if you can state the title, please.
Yes, it's Stitch for Arms. Yeah, and for me the titles are amazing because, well, first because of the language, because I have to, because maybe the words sound different to me. The English words sound different to me, and I can invent, I can do exchange things with the words, and I know that I'm gonna be excused for that because, well, she's a foreigner, she's not American. Well, but this is something I can do, you know. It's not a feeling I can do strange things. Because when you know the things, how to do things properly, when you know how to do things properly, you think, oh no, I'm not gonna do that because it's not proper. But right now, it doesn't matter to me. So I can play with words and this is that is. I was there's another element. If you see the empty space. The empty, it has a shape too. For me, it was very important, the shape inside of the.
In here.
Yeah.
Inside of the image.
Yes, it's something it's something for me very interesting. The shape inside. And it's that it's what I like from. It's what I pretend with my work. As I said, no, tell me the story because the story is. Maybe you've seen a story about that, and you told me a story. The almost, you play soccer and things like that. And maybe in this what you say, there are particular arms, but at the same time there are universal arms. And this is what I like when I find all those small elements and my animals, my plants, I think it's just an object. For any reason, I fall in love with that object. I fall in love with that idea. I fall in love of that word. That word that helped me to develop a drawing, an idea. This is I think when I was in grad school, I had a comedy review, and someone said that this is poetry. Poetry is that. You have a word, you make a word universal. And you see, a poem, there's not a phrase exactly. It's words. You put a little by chance, a little like this. But you connect with every word. This is the poetry quality. Gray has a quality. Well, I do mainly I draw. I'm a draftsman.
Draw.
I draw a lot. And black and white has a very special quality. I didn't. I think I haven't painted. Well, when I was in grad school in Dallas, well, I was painting just for a while. But for any reason, I decided. Well, I've been drawing most time. And it's the grayscale. All the tonalities, all the range of grayscale you can get.
Okay.
Well, I think there's a painter, a Spanish painter that I like very much. He's a great man, Antonio Lopez Garcia. He had last June he had a very important retrospective in Boston Museum, and he was always painting his family, all the most familiar elements, and he was someone who maybe he could be doing a painting for 20 years, and his paintings has a sort of time quality, it's very special. It's very realistic, but yeah, you have. It's very special. It's very special painting. But for me, the most special was him. There's a film called Son of El Sol del Membrillo, Son of the Queens. And all the film is he's painting a queen's tree. And at some point he said, well, okay, if I'm painter because it's the best I can do. I do it, and I do it the best I can do. If I was a clerk, or if I was someone who's sweeping the streets, I do my best, the same. I think it's a question of spirit. I'm doing something, and something is important. As maybe you're working you're working here, and this is important. There are some people who that's the man in the shop who's selling things, and that's important. And I think that I'm doing that, and this is important, and I do my best. And I think I'm living in the society. I'm not better because I'm an artist or something like that. I don't like that kind of things. And for me, the big lesson of Antonio Lopez is to do, well, you're doing that because, well, you have a lot of ability or whatever for that. So do that your best.
You were born in Barcelona?
Yep.
Then you came to this country when...
Well, yeah, I came with a student visa. Yes, I was visiting a friend. Well, I have a studio print shop in Barcelona, and I still remember I went to a printmaking conference in Boston 5 years ago, and I remember I don't like the United States. Well, I was back to Barcelona.
That was your first time here? No?
Well, my second. My first time it was in 1988 or 89 to New York. I visited New York. And, well, I remember I didn't like it. I was back to Spain, and we had some problems with my family, and I had to close my studio. Because the space was from the building was from my family, and they had other plans, so I was very depressed. And one of my friends, she was living in Dallas. She was in the bilingual program, the elementary schools. There are lots of teachers from Spain who are working in the United States, because there's an agreement between Spanish and American education department. So some teachers come here. And she was here. She was living in Dallas. She always told me, you should come here and visit me. I said, no, I don't want to come to Dallas. I don't like the United States. I don't like Texas. But well, when that happened, she told me, okay, Teresa, please come over, come visit me, forget your problems. You're sad in Barcelona, please forget your problems, come to the US. And she was working at that time when she left the school, the elementary school. She was working in SMU, and we were walking on campus. And I saw another school. I just came in. And at that time there was the chair. He was teaching printmaking. He was in the printmaking shop, and I came in and just introduced myself. Hello, I'm a Spanish printmaker. And he was amazing. He felt very welcome. He gave me a copper plate. He allowed me to use the facilities, and I was using the facilities. And when I was back to Barcelona, I wrote to him, thanks very much for, I don't know what I'm gonna do in my life, but I enjoyed, I had a great time with you, thanks very much. I didn't expect such a good generosity from you. And because in Spain, and he wrote me back, and he told me, why you do not apply for a scholarship? We have scholarships. You could apply for a master's degree. We have scholarships. Why you don't? Well, give me your address and send me your photos, your documents. Well, it was 3 years ago.
3 years ago. So
Yeah,
you finished your master's and then...
Yes, and I moved to Austin. Yeah. And no, but the thing is, when things you don't expect, things were unexpected, completely unexpected. Completely unexpected, because I had no interest to come to the States.
And then you're going back home,
Yeah.
but you'll be back.
Yes, yes.
soon.
And right now, yes, and right now I had to get back home because well, my 1 year extension has expired. And right now, well, I can. There are some countries we can travel to the States for a short time.
To here or?
Yeah, to here.
Oh, okay.
And applying for the O1 visa.
Yeah, one.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I haven't done. I think the first time I did silkscreen in my life was when I was undergrad in Barcelona, and we had the thing a couple of times a week, and we had well, in my opinion, well, doesn't matter. Well, I had very few time, and the facilities were not very good, and we use oil-based products. So maybe for that reason I didn't pay attention to silkscreen process. And when I came here with my drawing, with my it was a subground etching in subground, and the challenge was how to translate this language into silkscreen. And the background was well, it was a black and white drawing. So I was talking to Brian and I said, well, what we can do? And said, okay, let's do only grays, gray scale. So it's only gray. Just maybe the moss is a little greenish.
Yes,
the last one is a little green. The only exception. But it was for me, it was a challenge of translating drawing quality into silkscreen. It's completely different. It's a completely different world. And the arm is black ink with a lot of transparent.
Right, I see that.
We build up with the transparent. Well, I told Brian that it was amazing when we had the same taste in music.
It's always good.
Yes, because sometimes you go to someone else's studio and well, you're new and the other person like heavy metal or something like that. It's a little uncomfortable. But here was well, immediately. Well, I was listening, hearing opera music, and I said, "Wow, that's just amazing!" And the conversation about opera, and that made me very happy. Well, the only bad experience was the first day that heat didn't work out, and it was a very cold night. But this is something that happens. This is not. This is something to explain. It's something to explain to your friends. But it has nothing to do with the residency itself, you know. So just something that happened. The thing is, I forgot the process. I'm not very familiar with silkscreen process. So it was for me a little difficult. I had to think. I had to figure out how to translate a drawing into silkscreen. But Brian, he was very helpful, and he gave me lots of ideas how to develop the artwork. And it was amazing how fast is it. Silkscreen is very fast. Maybe I'm an intaglio printer, and maybe something like this it takes a month.
Yeah, you were saying.
Yeah. You have to think how to curate it and all that stuff. And for me, it was amazing how fast. And after I have lots of ideas how to do in silkscreen, maybe next time, who knows? But that has been a very nice experience. I'm very happy about that.
Excellent.
Well, it has been a very good experience. And
Are you happy with the ending?
yes, I had a great time.
Good. Good.
Yes, and that's gonna be for me something to start on. because well, is what I told you, and I haven't had the opportunity of working in the silk screen. But right now I see how to do it, how to work with it, and that gives you a lot of ideas, new directions for the artwork. I think I was, well, with Mexicarte, they invited me to do for the mini La Caja Museo, they invited me to La Caja Museo. And there was a huge party.
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah. And I, at that time in the Flappy Press, I had an assistant, and she's from Puerto Rico, Mariela, she's from Puerto Rico. And I had an extra invitation. I told her, come with me, come with me. And we were, that was that I didn't give margaritas, and okay, let's drink the last margarita. And I went to the restroom, and she was on the line, waiting, and she was talking to Sam.
Oh, okay.
And we began, and I'm Sam Coronado, and he gave me a card, but I heard about him.
Excellent.
Yeah, and after I think he came with, there was an invited artist, and he came to Flappy Press, so we crossed each other.
Like that. Excellent.
Yeah. Excellent. Yes, no, so well,